What's up guys, Casey here, and welcome to just a little bit of a side video. So the Halo Wars 2 beta has been live for a little while now, for about a week or so, and I finally got the time to kind of dig into it. Now if you don't know, I've been a Halo fan for a long time, and I've stated this in many videos before, but I've been a Halo Wars fan too. Now, when Halo Wars 1 originally came out, it didn't get exactly the greatest acclaim in the world, and a lot of people I think were disappointed because they were expecting a traditional Halo title with, you know, the iconic first-person action and stuff. But what they got was something completely different, especially for console players at the time. They had no idea, at least the majority of them had no idea what they were actually getting themselves into. But real quick, right now I'm just opening a bunch of different packs of cards in the game to be able to play. Now this particular beta is for the Blitz game mode, which is very different. I'll talk more about it in just a second here, but it's quite different than the traditional Halo Wars gameplay and game types. When I started playing it, I had no idea what exactly I was getting myself into, and it was kind of surprising. But they give you for the beta, I don't know if they'll transition over to the actual game if you pre-order and play it, but they give you something crazy like 30 packs of cards or something from the get-go in this beta to give you like a bunch of different cards to play around with. So now I'm just going to go head over and try to find a match and get paired up and play Blitz. Now what Blitz is it almost feels reminiscent of a mobile game. You have a deck of cards that you can summon at will depending on how much energy you have, and some cards are better, some cards are weaker, some cards are stronger. Each card has their own purpose, their own strengths and weaknesses, pros and cons, and you have to do your best to orchestrate which cards work best for your situation and try to succeed. And the objective here is to be able to control the most points. It's a 2v2. I don't know in the final game if it'll be 3v3 or 1v1. I imagine they'll have different size teams. But essentially the objective is who can control the most points. And right now it's letting you choose a leader, but as far as I could tell, there was no way for me to change my leader besides Captain Cutter, which is fine. It's nice to see a returning face from Halo Wars 1. I never really played Cutter a whole lot. I was typically Sergeant Forge, but Captain Cutter was, I did play with him a little bit, and he was pretty fun. But anyways, like I said, you're supposed to control these different points by essentially claiming them and defending them, sort of King of the Hill style. And you'll see in a second here when the game actually starts, the loading times are a little absurd in the game. Hopefully they get downsized in the future when the game actually releases. But you'll see in the second here, there's these different little pods that will crash down, and you can go over to them and try to get more energy out of them, so that way you can spawn more units and more cards faster than your opponent to try to outnumber them. Now, there was one thing that I saw here in a second that, again, you'll see if we can get to the actual game. I didn't realize just how long the loading times were. Sorry about this. I might just skip ahead. Alright, so you'll see here in a second that there's still one thing that kind of disappoints me now. I don't know if it's just specific to Blitz, but it looks like there's still a 30 unit cap. I don't know if there's a way to increase that, but it's a little disappointing. I'm used to playing games like Stellaris and Age of Empires and stuff, where you can have just a massive army. Now this is also for Xbox One, so I imagine they had to kind of trim down a classic RTS style for the sake of hardware restrictions. But well, not even hardware restrictions, because I would imagine that the Xbox One could play games like Age of Empires. I mean, that game is pretty old. But you also have to consider that on the consoles you're using a controller, so I guess dealing with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of units could potentially be overwhelming to a controller player. But I'm using a mouse and keyboard here. I don't even know if it has controller support for PC or not. But as you can see, I'm now actually engaging. Sorry, I just bumped my mic. As you can see, I'm actually engaging the enemy here now. And I do fairly well for my first little push. Again, this is my first game ever, and I decided to record and put it up so that way I could have a true reference to my first experience in the game. So I realized that I wasn't going to win that battle for that plot of land there. Those are the points. Those big circle discs, those are the points that you need to control. You have to control 2 out of 3 of them in order to actually score points. So it's kind of like territories in Halo. So I retreat and I build up my army. Now I think we're playing against other players. I'm like 99% sure we're playing against other players. But the problem, what makes me think that I'm not, is they just kind of sit there. Now it makes sense that they're defending their point, but they just sit there like AI until I show up. They don't do anything. I don't see them spawning units or anything. So I don't know. I think technically we're playing against other players, but so I was losing this battle again, but then my teammate kind of showed up and helped sway the fight a little bit. That Scorpion tank is a beast back there. That thing hardly takes damage. As you can see, there's units just slamming on it, and it's not even a half health yet. It's quite a it's quite a tank. Yeah, I'll be here all day. But anyways, so we're capturing this point now. We're taking on these guys. They just call for reinforcements. We're still trying to take this point. I'm calling for reinforcements too. You can see down below are my different cards that I have available. Every time you spend energy on a card, a new card from your deck replaces it. And you can keep summoning them even in the middle of a fight, which sounds like it could be a little unfair at times, but there is what they call, I think they call it like spawn fatigue, or deployment fatigue, that's what they call it, where if you summon a unit outside of your base or outside of a captured zone, they spawn with fatigue, so they deal less damage and they have less health for like 10 seconds after deployment. That's, I'm guessing, to help kind of balance it, so that way you don't just show up like 3 guys and then all of a sudden, surprise, here's an entire army. So we contested, we got B, now we're heading to C. And it looks like red team has got C. Again, this feels like it should almost be on a mobile device. Like I should be playing this on my tablet or my phone. It doesn't necessarily feel like traditional Halo Wars, which I don't think they were going for that. This is just a different game mode. There is going to be the traditional Halo Wars campaign and game types. But this is just something new, something fun. It's a lot more fast-paced. This I could see going well over matchmaking, because each game only takes about 15 minutes or so. So you're not waiting a ridiculously long amount of time. Because I don't know if you've played original Halo Wars, but I used to play it on the Xbox, the Xbox 360 a lot, and games would just take forever. They would just drag on. They would just drag on, especially if you're playing with someone that just wanted to bunker down and camp the whole time and not really attack you. They just wanted to sit in place. It would just last for eons. It would be extremely frustrating. Or it would just come down to whoever had the most grizzly tanks won. Then that was Halo Wars 1. You either had grizzly tanks or you didn't have grizzly tanks, and you either won or you lost. But hopefully the balances, I'm really hoping that they focus a little bit better on this game with the balances, because it definitely, I absolutely love the first one, the campaign in particular, oh god, I'm having a loss for words, but the cutscenes in it was absolutely amazing. The music was absolutely amazing, which, from what I can tell, the music in this game is going to be very well too. As you can see right there, we just got some energy, so that way we can spawn more units. I have a decent little army here, but as you can see, they're all weak, and I don't have any way to really heal. There is a couple units in my deck that I can heal my troops with, but and I come around the corner and they go invisible. I'm like, oh shit, I don't think I have any way to make them not invisible. So I run away, because I realize I'm not going to win that fight. And I don't want to lose all these troops that I just spawned. So I come back here and I try to beef up a little bit, try to get to something that can heal, which I did. So now I have, like, at least I think I have some sort of hornet or something that is healing my troops. So I'm just going to chill here for a minute or two and try to gather my troops. I'm waiting for energy to collect. You can look on the mini-map there on the bottom right. Those little nebula icons on the top of the map there. Those are energy. I didn't really realize that when I was playing this map, or this game, because like I said, it was my first game. So I didn't really try to go after them. But that's the energy. And if you collect those, it gives you something like 100 or 200 energy, or it makes you collect energy faster or something like that. Anyway, so now that I'm healed up and I have more troops, I go in, and they're not invisible now because they already used that ability. So now I'm ready to go in. I think in a second here, I try to play it really smart. The ODST drop pods are very awesome. Yep. So they let you kind of, when you're they kind of let you flank your enemy. See, I just spawned them there in the middle, and they're buff. They're strong. They deal a lot of damage, and they have a decent amount of hit points. So they do pretty darn well. They can actually really sway your battle. Now, if you're seeing a little bit of game performance here, hopefully it'll smooth out. It wasn't from the game itself. The game actually ran very well. If there's any performance issues, it's simply just from my capturing device. I don't know if it's going to translate into the final video or not. I hope not. But hopefully it smooths up in a second here. So I kind of lost the majority of my troops, so I'm back to a point that we have already captured. We have both points, so we're in the lead, and we're good. We're cush. We're just kind of trying to poke at that center to keep them from amassing any giant armies. So me and my teammate, we each have point A and C. We're defending them. I came back to C, and we're just kind of healing up and building troops. And my teammate is attacking B. I don't realize that right now, so he's just kind of over there by himself. I think I might realize it in a second here, and I go over and try to help him. I think. Or I just sit here like a dumbass and let my teammate die. Yeah. So now I have a pretty big army. As you can see, I have 13 out of 30 units, but it looks pretty big. What's kind of cool is one unit will consist of like 4 or 5 troops. So it's a decent way of getting you bigger numbers without actually giving you more units. Halo Wars 1 did something very similar. So I have quite the army here, and I'm thinking I'm just going to walk right in and I'm just going to stomp them with this. And then I turn around and I realize, holy shit, yeah, I'm not going to be able to touch them. I try to drop some ODSTs in, but I think they die almost immediately. Or not. So they go invisible again, and that's not a good sign, because again, I don't know if there's a counter to their invisibility, but my troops just will not deal damage to them while they're invisible, which is kind of lame, because active camouflage in the Halo universe just means that they can't see you. It doesn't mean that they can't hit you. And if you fire a weapon, the enemy can typically see you in Halo. I don't know why my troops aren't able to attack them when they have active camo. So I survived, I think, with a single Warthog after that push. Yeah. So I have to go back with a little bit, I have to come back and lick my wounds. I'm just spawning whatever I can as quickly as I can, because I'm afraid they're going to do a counter push, which they very well could have and taken my point, but I think they went to A instead of C. Yeah. So they're attacking A. Hopefully my teammate can handle it just fine, and I'm just trying to still build up. I'm just spawning any and everything that I can. And you can see in just a matter of seconds I've built up to a decent sized army again, enough to defend myself if they do decide to come and try to push my point. Which they don't, they just sit there. That's like I said, I feel like that I wasn't really facing against other players, because they're maybe they just don't know how to play the game very effectively, because they need to be pushing to try to get another point right now. So I'm just going to try to sneak past them. I'm doing a little bit of exploration there. They have a Wraith that's going to poke out and shoot me a couple times. But I want to get this energy over here. So I get the energy, and I don't realize that their home base is right to the left of me, and I think there's stuff in there that just wrecks me. Yeah, there's stuff in there that I don't think we can attack. I think that's just their main base. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to come back here because I was afraid, because I left my point, that they were going to try to capture it. So I tried to bring all my troops back. There's only a minute of the game left. At this point, even if they do capture both points, I don't think they have any chance. But they did capture C. They did capture my point because I left it. But it's just a single little unit in there, and they die in a matter of seconds, and I take C back. There's 40 seconds left in the game. They need a Hail Mary, but the rate at which you score in this game is so slow. You have to have 2 points captured, and then even still, you can see you get like 1 point a second. Yeah, so it takes a while. It's the first team to 200 points wins, or just whoever's in the lead when the time runs out. But as you can see, again, they're just sitting there. They're trying to defend that 1 point. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they aren't really being aggressive when they really need to be, because they have quite a large army. They could take my point if they wanted to push. At this point, I really didn't know what I was doing. So we achieve victory, of course, and do pretty well.
Congratulations.
So I didn't do fantastic, but I didn't do bad, I don't think, for my very first game I ever played. But so that's Halo Wars 2 in a nutshell, at least Blitz mode. It's quite a bit of fun. Again, feels like it should be a mobile game, but it's still really cool. I enjoyed it for what it is. I know a lot of people aren't really, loving it, but I thought it was cool. But anyways, so I'm gonna let you guys go here. Take a second to listen to the soundtrack, because it's just as good as I think the Halo Wars 1 soundtrack was. It's absolutely beautiful. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click that thumbs up button and subscribe to stay up to date with my latest videos and reviews. And now, I'll just leave you with a minute of the soundtrack. Until next time, guys.